But in reality, I guess it just is. Boogie has literally never been an adult in his whole life, right? That's what it seems like to me. Like he's just a grown child, and you just can't work with the guy. That's why it's such a nightmare for him to do the show and everything. Here's the deal. As you all know, I've been attempting to schedule some interviews for this show that I think the audience would find interesting, that have been requested by my audience over time. And one of the interviews that was suggested and or I thought would be interesting was Boogie. Yes, that's right, Boogie. The most infamous guy on the internet of the last year. Well, maybe not, but pretty bad with all the antics and things that he's been up to, the lies and the messed up stuff, right? So I was interested in having Boogie on this show, right? And I've already told you the story from my perspective of what's been going on with this guy.
The amount of DSP's content as of late that revolves around other people, specifically other lolcows, is alarming, to put it one way. It's just striking that every other segment, if not every segment, is about these dregs of the internet. Phil is correct in saying that he's already explained how difficult it is to coordinate a stream with Boogie, but don't think for a second that that's going to stop him from re-explaining the entire story from beginning to end. This is Darkside Phil after all. About the only thing that he's capable of doing is talking in circles and retelling things that he's already said just the day prior.
Me reaching out to him, trying to get in contact with him, basically only getting sporadic responses from him, trying to wrangle this guy. I've equated it to like a live eel that you're trying to grab and hold, and it just keeps wriggling all over the place. It's like, what the hell? All I want to do is talk to you, relax. But that's kind of how he's been. It's just hard to reach out to the guy and get constant contact with him. You know, I'll DM him on Twitter, or X, and sometimes I'll get an immediate response. Sometimes it'll be many, many days before I get any kind of a response. Sometimes he'll seem very interested, and then all of a sudden, he's gone in the wind for a week. What happened, right?
It sounds to me like he isn't all that interested then. I mean, maybe he says he is, but if he isn't willing to be consistent in communication for scheduling, DSP, maybe, just maybe, it's not that important to him. I'm not surprised to hear that about Boogie though, given how lolcow Live operates and the sporadic way they stream. I 100% believe that Boogie isn't very good or even capable of communicating and setting up a concrete time for anything. Didn't Keemstar just the other day tell DSP exactly that though during his level 1 interview? Because I remember him explicitly saying that it's a nightmare to work and coordinate with both Boogie and Wings. And that's probably why DSP feels so comfortable saying that. It would be totally within DSP's pattern of behaviors to be comfortable saying negative things about someone simply because someone else has said it before. And when they said it, it was acknowledged as a fact. Similar to how he reacted to Low Tier God, now that I think about it.
So FYI, this all came to a head this week, because after having talked to this guy for about a month or more in Twitter DMs, we finally got it that he said he would do the show and do an interview. So we were talking specifics, okay, in Twitter DMs, and the very first specific date, because I had to give him dates this week that I would be open and available for him to come on the show. I gave him 3 dates this week, and he said, okay, what about Tuesday? All right, so this would have been Tuesday the 15th of October. And I said, okay, send me your Discord, and then we can solidify this while add you and we'll get it all set. He doesn't send me his Discord or anything. Instead, he asks me, well, what time zone is that? Now, I've already given him the time zone, the time, everything. He's asking the same information a second time, okay? And it's like, well, now this is bad because if I have to keep repeating myself, it means this guy's either not paying attention or it's not clicking in this guy's head, right? So I explained to him, it's Pacific time, 11:30 a.m., and please send me your Discord. Time passes several days. He doesn't confirm anything, nor does he send me his Discord, all right? So finally, I'm waiting. It's like the day before, and I'm like, dude, if I don't hear from you in the next 24 hours, it's off, okay? So it was actually Monday morning. If you remember, it was Monday morning, and I said to you guys on this very show, sorry, guys, I can't lock in the interview with Boogie. He hasn't responded. He hasn't given me the thumbs up 100%, nor has he sent me his Discord. So we're not doing the interview. Maybe we'll do it in the future, but I'm not going to say we're doing it and then we're not going to have it happen. I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver to my audience. And that's where we left it. You can go back and watch all my podcasts from this week, and you'll see the timeline of all these events unfolding, right? It's probably like 6 p.m. Don't quote me on that because I don't know exactly the time, but it's basically like the night before Tuesday morning when he said he had wanted to come on. And he finally responds to me in the DM and says, oh, here's my Discord, and I'm just confirming now, yes, I could be on your show tomorrow. And it's like, it's already off. Like, I already announced on the podcast that morning, he hadn't confirmed, he hadn't locked it in, we're not doing it. We'll just reschedule.
This is the part that is really so confusing to me though, because there was no reason he couldn't have still done the interview. I agree it doesn't make sense to do it after you called the entire thing off, but he didn't have to do that. He very easily could have left it in the air until the night stream or even after the night stream. There was no reason to shut it down so concretely that early in the day. I mean, how hard is it to tell your audience that it may or may not happen? That you'll make a post explaining whether it will or it won't when you find out, but to not expect the interview to happen as of right now. His insistence on having an entire day's worth of hype for his shitty interviews is so odd. This isn't some magical event that people will have to reserve space for. It's a stream with Boogie 2988, a stream that could be watched or viewed at any later date as a video on demand. So why is he insisting on making it so much harder for the both of them for what appears to be no reason?
Right? So basically, I'm streaming. I don't see his DM. At the end of my stream that night, I respond back. I'm like, dude, it's too late now. If you want, we can reschedule for the future. By the way, you still haven't. But I sent him the. That's right. I sent him the friend request. Right. I sent him the friend request on Discord. He didn't accept it. So it's like he's not giving me a set lock-in time and date. He won't confirm. He confirmed the night before that he could show up, which is too short of notice for me to have the show scheduled and promote it and have people know about it. Right. And he hasn't accepted my Discord request. So even if I had said yes to him, he's still not on my Discord, so I can't even call him for the show the next day.
You're meaning to tell me that this whole thing could have been avoided had DSP just been checking his DMs as often as he expected Craig to? Wow, who would have thought? DSP's a hypocrite. But I do want to say again, there was no reason to so concretely shut the door on the idea. Maybe doing something not expected would have been interesting, as far as DSP content can be interesting, of course. I'll just never understand his insistence on scheduling and hyping up everything he does for an entire week straight. Just because you plan things out and stick to a schedule doesn't make you any more professional, and it most definitely doesn't make the content any more interesting. And he's acting as though he couldn't have done it last minute because there was no way to change his schedule again. It was already a day in the schedule that he could have made open for Boogie. That's why it was offered in the first place. So why couldn't he have just reverted back to his original plan? You know, the one that would have taken place had Boogie just been a little more cooperative? I'm just astonished at how two grown-ass men that have been in this space forever can't function enough socially to set up what is essentially a public phone call.
So the whole thing is just a joke, right? That's where I left it. And then apparently he kind of went off, I guess on either on Lolcow Live or whatever. I don't know what it was, but I guess he was upset. He was upset because I guess he was locked to come on the show and he wanted to come on and he didn't. And then people asked me, well, why wasn't he on? And I was honest with you guys. I said, this is why, because he's not being professional about it. I've been trying to reach out and talk to this guy consistently. He doesn't. He's sporadic with his replies. He doesn't confirm anything. He asked me multiple times what time and time zone it is. I explained to him, let's get him added on Discord. He won't add the Discord. It's just a big nightmare, right? And I even explained to you guys earlier in the week, at this point, I feel like the only way I would get Boogie on my show is to get Keemstar involved, but I shouldn't have to do that. Like, Keemstar's not his dad. You know what I'm saying? So why on earth would I have to treat it as such? Why can't this just be professional where he can talk to me like a fucking human or a man and we could just get it done? But instead, it's got to be this three-ring fucking circus of, you know, beating around the bush and roundabout bullshit, and it pissed me off.
There were so many other ways to go about handling this situation, and he managed to pick the most childish and embarrassing way possible. If he really was that frustrated and exhausted from trying to deal with Boogie, then he should have just stopped before this point, or have waited until Boogie could communicate enough for his liking. Hell, he could have continued up to this point and just not publicly added Boogie about being a nightmare to schedule with. Because bitching, moaning, and complaining about someone you were trying to make content with just isn't typically a good look. And as DSP has demonstrated in the past, even if what he's saying is right, he always manages to deliver it in the least likable way.
And at that point, I said yesterday on the show, I'm just done with this. Like, this is too much work and nonsense for something that, quite frankly, the public response when I said I was going to have Boogie on the show was not even good. Let's be very transparent here. Many of you don't want me to have Boogie on this show. You're saying that Boogie is a horrible person and a liar. I'm not saying that. You are, right? You're saying Boogie's a horrible person, he's a liar, he doesn't deserve the venue, he doesn't deserve the platform, he doesn't deserve a fair interview, just fuck him. Like, that's what people have been saying ever since I announced that I was trying to get him on the show, and I was like, damn, I honestly wasn't expecting that.
This is what you guys said, not me. You said this. See how that just comes off as incredibly accusatory and hostile? How did he ever get comfortable speaking to his audience that way? And I couldn't help but hear the guy claim that all of this is too much work. Too much work? You're sending text messages back and forth with another grown-ass man. That's what he's referring to as too much work. Maybe he's talking about the fact that he's bringing it up every single day on his pre-stream, but that's entirely his own choice. The guy has one of the easiest, most sought-after jobs in the entire world, and he's still sat here crying that it's too much work trying to schedule a live phone call. These two better just be so thankful every day that the internet exists, because without it, I genuinely have no idea how they would have made it.
I thought people would be interested to have someone like that on my show, but the public response has actually been the opposite, okay? So all this, I basically just said, listen, the interview's off. I'm just not interested in doing it anymore. You know, I'm really not. I have two people I'm interested in interviewing in the future. One is Wings of Redemption, and one is someone else who's behind the scenes who you guys don't know. And if those ever come together, great. Outside of that, I'm tired of chasing down these people who are basically either evading me or being unprofessional about it, and I don't have time for it. I want my time to be mine again. I don't want to be sitting around for 2 hours every night after work when I'm supposed to be sleeping or relaxing, fucking texting people and fucking, you know, writing them messages and DMs and shit. It's just an endless game of tag that doesn't seem to have a reward at the end.
Hours after the stream, you're sending text messages, or I guess you should be sending a text message, because in case any of you haven't seen the leaked DMs, DSP doesn't just send one normal sized text message. Oh no, he will send multiple paragraphs at a time. No wonder it takes him so long to schedule. He's got to write an entire manifesto every time he hits the send button. It should be telling though that he is describing it as chasing down people, trying to get them on his show. I don't think that it's supposed to be like that. And I've said this before, when I do streams with other people, it really is as simple as asking if they want to and then giving them the time. How does he always manage to make everything so complicated? And it really would be a shame if this is the end of the level 1 interviews, because I truly think that this is some of his best, worst content to date. As far as entertainment value goes, I think that his interviews are top notch, only because every time he does one, he looks even dumber than he did before.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm done with it. We got more than enough content to do. We've got all these topics to do on my show or whatever, okay? So the reason I'm bringing this up today is a very good reason. After having said all this yesterday on my podcast, Boogie decides to take to X and make a video message about me, all right? Now, I'm just going to forewarn all of you, right? I don't want to jump scare you, and I don't want you to have your stomach turned, but prepare for an extreme and a very disgusting close-up, all right? I've warned you. All right, like I am having a problem looking at my screen right now. All right, you ready? I'm warning you. If you don't want to be grossed out, I recommend you turn away from your cameras right now or your screens. Okay, you ready? In 3, 2, 1. Okay, I forgot that this was on the screen. All right, ready? Okay, so please don't vomit. I'm about to, because he has food all over his fucking mouth. He films this, all right, with food all over his face, and he doesn't even know. It's just disgusting.
I have a really hard time hearing this kind of criticism from DSP. He's the guy who will burp, snort, and blow his nose directly into the microphone. He's the one who will pick, scratch, and peel any and every pore on his face over the course of a stream. So he really is the last person who should be calling out anybody for their sloppy appearance on stream. And I felt the exact same way when it comes to his criticisms about Rich, at least in that department. This is of course not a denial that Boogie looks gross. He absolutely looks gross. He's always looked gross in one way or another. Even when he got his teeth fixed and lost weight, he looked gross. None of that is new information, but I don't think that it gives Darkside Phil any sort of room to be talking about others in this department when his regular behavior on a consistent basis is more grotesque.
It's really gross. And then on top of that, he has to copy Keemstar. And what I mean by that is the Keemstar Twitter video or X video is Keemstar has his camera and he walks around his house talking to it. It's a technique that people use. What it is when you keep moving when you're doing a video, it makes it seem like something's going on, like there's action involved, like you're very busy. It serves a purpose, okay? Keemstar has done this for years and years, so now Boogie has to basically copy Keemstar in the way that he does his messages and shit. So that's why he's doing it this way, just to forewarn everyone. All right.
Is Keemstar the first person to ever move while shooting a video? Have countless other creators and influencers not done it since? Are they also copying Keemstar? And even if that is the case, even if they are all copying Keemstar, isn't it a good idea to do something that has been shown to keep people's attention and keep them more engaged in your video? I just don't know why this needed to be pig-splained to the audience, or why he has to try and credit something as vague as moving during a vlog as something that Keemstar originated. To me, it seems like he felt felt the need to say something but didn't really have anything. And if that's the case, he should have just kept his mouth closed because he would have looked far better.
Now, I'm going to play, but I'm not going to watch the video because I am disgusted he has food all over his face. It actually is gross to me. So I'm just going to listen, and then I'm going to respond, okay? Here we go.
No, don't do that. Don't listen to the whole thing, then make your audience listen to it back again for your response. Why wouldn't you just respond the first time? Why does he insist on wasting everyone's time every way possible? I'll save everybody the time and we'll just go to the second viewing. You're welcome.
Are you ready? So now let's directly respond to everything. All right, here we go. Let's do it again.
Well, I try to do Darkside Phil the favor of going and appearing on a show for him and giving him free content. And
I don't consider it free content when it's so difficult to get this guy on the show, just to be honest. Like, I've actually put more work into trying to get him on the show than any of the other guests that have been on. And I don't really see that there's going to be a ton of payout for it. So considering the public reaction that people don't like Boogie and said, don't have him on your show, don't give him a platform. So I don't believe it's free. I mean, I'm not paying him to appear, nor would I. But at the same time, it's definitely not free. There's a lot of time investment to try to wrangle this dude.
If you aren't paying him in any legitimate currency, then it's free. The amount of effort you're willing to put into this is entirely your own call and shouldn't really be held against Boogie. But did you hear the way that he says that not only is he not going to pay him, but that he wouldn't pay him? There's just something so insulting about that. Like, it's DSP declaring Boogie's value, which seems very counterproductive when trying to do collab content. Just seems like the type of thing that would hurt feelings and potentially spawn some sort of bad blood. Not that internet beef is a bad thing, of course, but please keep in mind that this is the man who constantly tells everybody that he doesn't like drama, that he doesn't want to make enemies and constantly battle back and forth. If he really meant what he said, then all he had to do, at least in this scenario, is drop the whole thing and keep it pushing. But he just can't seem to help himself from lashing out at others like this. And that might just be the most embarrassing aspect of this entire ordeal. DSP is 42 years old and can't help but lash out every time that he has a minor inconvenience. Even if lashing out comes at his own detriment, he won't stop.
Okay.
it took like a week to settle down a date. I picked last Friday, and I gave him the caveat that, like, look, my business comes first, right? Locale Live comes first. So,
Okay. Half of that statement is completely true, and half of that statement is 100% an outright blatant lie. Okay. He absolutely said, Locale Live comes first. That's my work. That has to take priority. And I respect that fully. 100%. If he's involved with his show or whatever, that always takes precedent. And even if we had locked in Tuesday morning, and then all of a sudden he said, there's a big happening, Keem says we got to do this, I would understand that. And you know what? It would be sad that I locked it in, he had to cancel, but I would understand that, okay? We never once said anything about a Friday. Not once. I gave him 3 dates. I said Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday of this week. He's claiming that he said Friday of last week. That discussion never happened. There was never even an open Friday of last week that he could have been on. That's complete bullshit. He made it up. I went and just to be sure, I went back and I checked our entire conversation from top to fucking bottom. That never happened. So he literally fabricated half of that to make it sound like he was already trying to do me this solid and help. No, he didn't. That never happened. The original dates that I gave, I told him, I can't even tell you when you're going to be on yet till I have my wife's work schedule because I need to know what days I have off or whatever. And then when I had her schedule, I said, okay, here's the dates available. Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. He said Tuesday. So the whole Friday thing, he actually made up. Completely 100% made up. All right. I don't know why he made that up unless he thinks it makes him look better. But he totally made that up.
If that never happened and it's so easy to prove, just show the DMs. And I want to make it clear that that's not something that I like people doing. I think that showing DMs is often a bit of a faux pas, but in this instance, since no personal details are even in question, just show the scheduling dispute. This whole situation could be sorted out and explained so easily, yet here we are reacting to a Twitter response video from this lard ass with food on his lips. During the Rich segment the other day, he said that him leaking DMs isn't a big deal because he doesn't say anything or reveal any info, so there should be no reason that he can't show the proof and just move on.
All right, let's continue.
even though we can schedule a date, if Keemstar needs me to travel, if the show needs me to do something, I have to prioritize my business and my show. But otherwise, I'm glad to come on as soon as I can. We decided last Friday wasn't good enough. So
No, we didn't. There was no discussion about a last Friday. It never happened. He made that up. Don't know why he keeps repeating it now.
for the weekend, I tried to get a new date, and I'm like, okay, look, I don't know what day surgery is for Jordy. I want to be available for surgery in case.
Now, this is hilarious. He doesn't know the date of Jordy's surgery. I knew the date of Jordy's surgery because it was public. It was announced publicly. It was going to be, wasn't it Wednesday the 16th? Everyone knew the date of Jordy's surgery, except his coworker. You're literally the only person on the internet who doesn't know what day Jordy is getting gallbladder surgery. How the fuck did you not know? What are you busy doing exactly? that you don't know what's going on with your coworkers, right? I mean, I'm curious. He's such a busy guy. He's got so much going on in his life. He doesn't know when the surgery's happening. That's public knowledge to everyone on the internet.
I can't help but agree with DSP here, as much as I do hate to say that. There's no reason that Boogie shouldn't have known when Wings' surgery was. Practically everybody else did. I'm just confused as to what the hell he could have even have meant when he said that he wanted to be available if Wings needed something. Like, if Wings fell down and needed some help getting up, Boogie thought that he was gonna be the guy to do it or something. What could he have possibly have done to benefit Jordy other than stream and continue to make the both of them more money? It's little bits like this that make me question both sides of this argument and further push me into believing that DM should have just been shown.
Okay, whatever you say, bro. Let's continue.
Something goes bad, if he needs help, but I think Tuesday will work. And I told him that Monday night. All right, Monday night, I'll be there tomorrow morning.
Notice how he skipped the entire situation where we talked about Tuesday, and I said, okay, let's lock it in. Send me your Discord. I'll add you on Discord. Then we can have everything set. And he never sends me his Discord. I asked him multiple times, and he still doesn't send it to me. Then he sends it to me, and I sent him the friend invite on Discord, and he doesn't accept the friend invite. He didn't even accept the friend invite till yesterday, Thursday. So how would I have done a podcast with him on Tuesday if I didn't have him on Discord until Thursday? Okay.
He decides that's not good enough because he needs his audience to have some major prep time. He wants
No. It's not that it's not good enough because my audience needs major prep time. I need people to know you're going to be on, or what's the point, right? I was waiting for your response. You didn't respond properly. You didn't add the Discord. Because of that, Monday morning, I announced you're not going to be on the show Tuesday because it's not confirmed. You messaged me in the middle of Tuesday night to say, oh, I'm coming on. No, you're not. It's already off. It's already done. We can reschedule, but you don't make my schedule. I already had it set. You wouldn't confirm. That was the end of it, right? It's like this guy thinks that, oh, just because I messaged you at like 6 p.m. Pacific time on Tuesday night while you were setting up for your stream and working, you should have known that I messaged you and immediately said, I'm going to be on your show Tuesday morning. No. No. I'd already announced Monday morning you're not going to be on the show. That's not how it works.
I don't know if you caught that, but DSP said Boogie messaged him Tuesday night and expected him to be on the next stream Tuesday morning. That's just not how time works at all. I'm sure that he meant Monday, but if you're going to retell the entire series of events, at least get the days correct, as they are an integral part of the tale. That being said, shout out of course, what does he mean that he needs people to know that Boogie is going to be on? He already told them that that was going to be the case, or at least that was the plan. He also already informed his audience how the communications were going with Boogie and how it was still up in the air. All Phil had to do was show a bit of tact and patience, and this whole thing could have blown over or just been rescheduled and not been a problem at all. But tact and patience has never really been his strong suit, has it?
Okay.
wants to put it on his schedule or something like that. I'm like, all right, well, let's reschedule a third time. And he's like, all right, this time add me on Discord.
That's complete nonsense. I'd already had the request with Discord before this Tuesday nonsense, and he never accepted. I sent him the invite. He never accepted it. That's why we didn't have the show. If he had accepted on Discord, I probably would have tried to do the interview, but he hadn't accepted. So how can I do an interview with the man if he's not on my Discord? So there you go. Okay.
Here's the problem. I don't use Discord. I'm a 50-year-old man.
You use Discord every single time you do Lolcow Live. Every single time that you do your actual work, you use Discord. What are you talking about? Like, seriously, what are you talking about? You've been doing Lolcow Live the entire year, right? Unless he does it, maybe he uses something different. Does he use Zoom? Does he use one of these other? I don't know what he uses. I had Keemstar on Discord incredibly easily. I know Keemstar has been doing Discord calls for ages. So I don't get it. I'm really lost here. Okay.
If I recall correctly, didn't Keemstar have audio issues for the first 10 minutes or so of their level 1 interview? So much for getting Keem on Discord incredibly easily, I guess. The real question is, of course, does Phil's logic get to be applied equally to himself? Because once again, he is right. The idea that Boogie can't navigate an incredibly easy UI like Discord is absurd. He's either just too lazy or stubborn to learn, and if I'm honest, that's the exact type of mentality that I would expect out of him. Not making excuses, just saying I'm not surprised. But DSP, on the other hand, how long has he been using computers on a daily basis for his job, and how many times has he needed his audience to walk him through the basics of PC operation? How long has DSP been using OBS, again on a daily basis, and still requires his audience to walk him through the basic features of the software? This is a criticism that has been levied at DSP for a very long time about all of the different aspects to his business, because he seems to be unfamiliar with just about all of them. And this is a criticism that I know that I have personally expressed in my own videos, because it's never made any sense to me how somebody could do what is essentially the same job for 16 years straight and be so unfamiliar with the tools that they use on a daily basis. You'd think that just through the repetition of going through the software every single day that he would be more familiar with its settings and the way that it works, but he's just not. So once again, DSP has no room to talk in this department. I don't know if it's because they're both lolcows that they are this way, or if it's because they're just low intelligent men approaching senior status, but either way, I don't think that it's a mere coincidence.
I use it for my locale live server.
He just said he uses it for his locale. He admits it. Oh, I use it. I don't know how to use it, but I use it. What is it with these people who come at me, but they literally contradict themselves immediately in their own statements? Yesterday, we had Review Tech say, I never said I want $1,000 to be on lolcow Live. And in the next sentence, he says, so I wanted $100,000 to be a co-host. I was offered to be a co-host, and I said 100,000 in the same fucking breath. So he's, oh, I don't use Discord. I don't know how to use it. Oh, but I have my whole lolcow Live thing on there.
For any of you who didn't watch the RTU-centric stream that I did, that is most definitely not at all what Rich said. DSP is, again, misrepresenting people despite not needing to, because the reality is bad enough. In regards to using Discord and still not knowing how it actually works, I have to ask a similar question that I have before. Is this not the same boat DSP found himself in when it came to collabing with the Kino Casino? DSP has had this super secret mod Discord server for years at this point. Yet, when it was time to talk to his boyfriends for the first time on stream, he was absolutely bewildered and befuddled on how to do pretty much anything. It's just non-stop hypocrisy with this guy, and I can't stand it. It's the #1 thing that I dislike about DSP, and he will never change in this aspect. He really does live by the adage that he does everything correct and nothing wrong, even if what he believes is wrong is exactly what he's doing.
Okay.
That's it. I don't do friends. I don't message people. I'm a 50-year-old man. I don't like Discord. I don't want to use Discord. We have not used Discord to coordinate any of this yet.
Because we're talking in DMs on Twitter, so I can get your Discord so we can set up the video call for the interview. I can't do it over Twitter. It has to be via a video chat client like everyone uses on the internet. It's either going to be Discord or Zoom. I don't really like Zoom because you have to pay to really get any good quality out of Zoom. I've looked into it. I don't want to pay for the premium there. There's a couple other ones as well that I've used on other people's shows and stuff, but I think that Discord's just the easiest one to set up because everyone uses it, right?
He doesn't like Zoom because you have to pay for higher quality, but DSP, you're the one who's already paying for Discord in order to receive and send higher quality video. As a matter of fact, wasn't he the one paying to boost his own Discord server in order to get higher quality instead of just using it as a Discord Nitro feature in a private call? So not only is he spending money on Discord, but he's spending money in the most roundabout way possible to do something that he could have done for cheaper. Meanwhile, programs like Vencord continue to exist and offer pretty much all of the premium Discord features, but for free. And that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about when I say that if DSP just took the time and effort to familiarize himself with the software he uses or the digital storefronts that he uses, that he'd be much better off.
So anyway, complete silliness, but let's continue.
We've done all of this on Twitter, so now suddenly we have to do it on Discord.
How would we have our interview on Twitter? How could we possibly have a podcast interview on Twitter? I don't want to see you on your phone walking around your house in an interview. I want to see you sitting down in your filming setup, and we can sit here like 2 men and have a conversation. That's an interview. Not what you're doing right now is not an interview that I would want to do. You walking around your house so what are you talking about? We need to have this set up to do the interview. How is this rocket science?
So then I go into Discord and they try to figure out where his account is. I have like 400 friend requests on Discord. Why do we have to use Discord for this? I don't know at this point.
Now that's just hilarious to me, all right? He says, I have 400 friend requests on Discord. So let me get this straight. So you use Discord for work. You've already admitted that. But you have your friend requests open? You left your friend requests open, so your inbox got spammed with a bunch of friend requests. So here's what you do. You create another Discord account. You close the other one because you're never going to be able to use it if you have 400 messages in your inbox, okay? You set that one up and say, friend request closed. DMs closed, except you're a friend. It's very easy to do. And then you use that new account. You're using it for work, but you're just ignoring, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's making every excuse under the sun about this. And like, dude, none of your excuses have any weight or merit. What you're saying is ludicrous. Everyone uses Discord, including me now. You use it for work. You admitted it in this video. What on earth are you talking about? Everyone uses Discord.
Again though, Boogie has the exact same issue DSP had not that long ago, in that he is familiar enough with the server aspect of Discord, but not the actual friend requests or the private calls. Phil thinks that because he understands something that everybody else on the planet should, as if he is the lowest common denominator at all times. But don't dare expect DSP to actually know anything else, because the second that you do that, he's going to jump down your throat calling you a dunce and a life loser just to protect his own ego.
So then I found out today he's decided to cancel.
He found out today I decided to cancel. After Monday on my show saying we're delaying it, Tuesday on my show saying it ain't happening because he didn't accept my Discord friend request, Wednesday on my show saying it ain't happening because he didn't accept my Discord friend request, and then finally yesterday I was at my wit's end and I said, I'm just canceling the whole thing, I don't care. It took him that long to figure it out. Boyd says he uses it for interviews. The entire show of Lolcow Live is through Discord. His members pay thousands monthly just to talk to them on Discord. But he doesn't know how to use Discord. Didn't you know that?
Which is fine. You know, like one of the reasons I was doing it was to give him content. Another
I don't think he gave a shit about giving me content, if you want to know the truth. I don't think so at all. I think this second part is what it really is.
reason I was doing it was in the hopes that maybe one day he would come on our show, even though he said he never would, even though he said he'd need $50,000 payment to come on our show, which is obviously never going to happen.
And there you go. We already hashed that out. I talked to Keemstar about it. I admitted it was a joke. It was me giving him the business because he had given me the business for so long. No, I'm not asking anyone to ever pay me to go on a podcast. It's a joke. Everyone knows that. I've already publicly admitted it, right? So what he's saying here is ludicrously stupid. But no, I fully believe the only reason that Boogie would have wanted to come on this show is because he wants me on Lolcow Live, because they will get a payoff from it. You know what I'm saying? If he comes on my show, I'll have one day where I'll get a little bit more views, maybe a tiny bit more support. A lot of people are actually saying they don't want him on the show. So actually, it might even backfire for me, right? Like legit, it might backfire. People will be like, wow, you gave this guy a platform and now we don't like you because you gave this guy a platform. So in that regard, maybe it's not a good idea regardless. Maybe this is a bad idea, right? So I don't know, but no, the real benefit here would be if I had him on the show and then eventually I go to Lolcow Live. That's where the benefit is, and it's solely for them. I will not benefit from being on Lolcow Live. Their audience is never going to say, wow, that DSP guy's a cool dude. Now that I've seen him on the show, I'm going to go watch his content. It's not going to happen. Why? Because my content is not what they do on Lolcow Live. I don't do stunts. I don't do these kind of crazy over-the-top stuff. I don't self-deprecate. I'm different, and that's fine. I'm not crapping on the show right now. I'm just saying it's completely different genres of content, correct? So I don't think that I have a benefit to be on their show. I wouldn't gain anything from it. Do you understand? So that's why I don't see the point.
What exactly did he have in common with the Kino Casino before they collabed? Was it only the fact that they mutually hated Rich? Because that's the only thing that I can think of. In all reality, every other aspect of the casino is the exact type of thing that DSP would detest and disavow. I say would in the past tense, because now that the Kino Casino has opened the floodgate to some of his worst content, that being huge drama segments on a daily basis, it's not like he can hold those same stances. It is incredibly funny to me, though, that he thinks that due to Boogie's recent activities that he may actually receive less support from his viewers than he normally would. This guy has been lying to his audience for years to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars, and the ones who are around today never bat an eye. Why would platforming Boogie be the straw that breaks the camel's back? I just think this is another one of those instances where, in a desperate attempt to felt Boogie, DSP is just saying anything to seem as though he was actually the one who was doing Boogie a favor instead of vice versa. Wouldn't want to be indebted into Boogie now, would we?
And for him to think that just because he's going to appear on my show, he's doing me a solid, I'm going to get this giant benefit from having Boogie. What universe does Boogie live in that he thinks that his presence on someone's show is like a giant benefit to them? And here's the truth too. I'm not like the other people who have destroyed this man in the last year. I don't really have interest in having him on the show and just sit here and yell at him about why did you lie about this and that. And so many people have already done the finger waggling and yelling and degrading this guy. I don't even have interest in that. So if I had him on the show, it wouldn't be that. And probably people would be like, oh, Phil's not being a dick to him. Well, then this shucks, right? So there you go. Like, what was the point? I was trying to just get a variety of guests on the show. At first, I did think it was going to be a good idea. But to be honest, with the amount of trouble I had to go through with this fucking guy, just to try to get him on the show for no good reason, I just don't understand why it was so difficult. That this guy is like I said, he's like an eel. You're trying to hold a live eel and it just keeps wriggling around. You just want to grab it and say, stop moving so we can talk. And it won't fucking listen. That's how he is. You know, again, it's the same thing what Keemstar said. He says working with these guys on his show is like the craziest nightmare scenario of trying to wrangle them up. It's true. Now I get that. I get what Keem was saying now because I've been there firsthand. And I'm like, holy shit. Yeah, this is kind of ridiculous. Okay.
I still want to do his show for free just because I like Phil. This is what it's like to try to do Dark Side Phil a solid and give him the favor of free content.
He thinks, again, he actually thinks that him appearing on my show is a solid and some kind of ginormous free content. It's not. He's got a really bad misconception in his head about himself. People want to see him on his show be humiliated and degraded. They don't want to see him come on my show and get like a normal interview. You know what I mean?
Then don't do a normal interview? I mean, if that is what your audience wants, of course. I don't know why your audience would want to see you behave that way when you've already told them outright you weren't interested, but whatever, they are your nets. DSP still seems to not understand that regardless of whether or not he likes Boogie or respects him, Boogie would be doing him a solid. He would be providing content, because by no means am I a professional interviewer or anything, but I'm pretty sure that there has to be someone to interview in the first place before any content can be made, and without Boogie, DSP has no guests. No one wants to go on his stupid little level 1 experience, and I have a sneaking suspicion that that's the real reason he's talking about discontinuing his interview content, because it's just impossible to continue without anyone willing to give him the time of day. And while I would be personally sad to see the shit show come to an end, people not even entertaining the idea of DSP is exactly what he deserves.
So anyway, I do want to follow up, because down here, Keemstar this morning actually responded to the conversation. And he said, even if he was doing your show in the hopes you do Lol Call Live, who cares? Most creators do each other's shows. Anyway, y'all should settle this in a private call. I can mediate it via Discord. Let me know. No need for you both to be fighting when you both have a common enemy, dickers. Now, the truth is, I never would have cared. This wouldn't have been like a public thing. I'm just telling you guys because you asked me what happened with Boogie, and I would tell you exactly what was going on each day, right? He's the one who decided to do a big public video thing on his Twitter to try to get attention for it or whatever. Not me. You know, I don't care. For me, it's just another day. Who gives a shit about this stuff, this drama shit? But
no, you don't get to say that though. DSP, Phil Burnell, is the one who was airing out all of this mess before Boogie ever made a response video. The line that he just used a few minutes ago, the one about Boogie being slippery like an eel, is a quote from literally the day before this takes place. The only reason Boogie is responding in the first place is because DSP hopped online and started openly complaining about him. Like I said earlier in the video, that's just counterproductive if he was really interested in having him on for content. How didn't he understand that? And how doesn't he remember that the day before he started all of this nonsense? The guy really is just a lunatic living in his own world every single day, isn't he?
So here's the deal. This is exactly what I was saying all along. I said, it seems to me like if I actually want to do something with Boogie, I have to talk to Keem. But I don't want to do that because that's like, it's like you're tattling on the child, right? Like the child can't be controlled. The child, Boogie is a 50-year-old man. I should be able to talk directly with Boogie and have this interview or not. I shouldn't have to talk to his internet dad to get him to come on the show. And that's what it seems like he wants. Like, talk with us in a private convo and then we'll work it out. What's the point? Right? I don't understand. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I don't want to do that. I've actually said this the last 2 days on the show. I said, I don't want to have to like tattle on him to his dad to make him act like an adult. But in reality, I guess it just is. Boogie has literally never been an adult in his whole life, right? That's what it seems like to me. Like, he's just a grown child and you just can't work with the guy. That's why it's such a nightmare for him to do the show and everything. You know what I mean?
Oh, like you're any better, Phil. But did you catch him admitting that for the past 2 days he's been talking about telling on Boogie to Daddy Keemstar? So not only was it the day before, but according to DSP, he was also talking about Boogie negatively the day before that even. So please, tell me again how you took no issue with Boogie beforehand and couldn't care less about him. And while I'm really glad that even DSP knows it's pathetic and cringe to go to Keem because of scheduling issues that he's having with Boogie, he apparently didn't understand that it's also incredibly insulting to say that about someone else publicly and that he had no business even posing the idea on his show. He could have thought about it all that he wanted. Hell, everybody probably had the same idea. I know that I did. But DSP saying it publicly is shameless and embarrassing if you ask me. He wants to do this collab with Boogie. He respects Boogie enough to bring him onto his content and show him off to his audience, but he can't treat him with enough respect to not go to Daddy Keem when they have a scheduling issue? I don't know. I just think that it's the least he could do given that for the day, Boogie would be the content that DSP is making money off of.
So the truth is, in this regard, I've already told you guys, I don't really care anymore. I really don't. Like, here's the truth, all right? And I actually said this because I forgot to tell you guys I responded. Here's my response. We never agreed to Friday. That's a lie, which is correct. I never talked to him on Friday about a Friday date. That never happened. You weren't doing me a solid. You admit in this very video that you were only doing it to get me on LolCal Live. The price is now $50K and 1 cent for my appearance. I've raised the price to appear on LolCal Live by 1 penny. I very much look forward to having Jordy on my show when he's recovered. And I just want to officially say to everyone here, yes, I want Jordy on the show. People have told me Wings of Redemption would be a fascinating appearance. The interview would be great. We could talk about our histories as content creators, the trolling that we've gone through, games, life, everything. Like, that would seriously be a great interview. 100%, I am down for that. All right? When Wings has recovered, I would love to do the interview, and we've already had that conversation in Twitter, XDMs or whatever, and he's agreed to do it. He just needs to recover first before he does it. So whenever he's ready, I'm ready, and that would be cool. That would be a great appearance and a great show. Okay? But outside of that, I have no interest in Boogie coming on the show anymore. It's too much trouble. It's too much bullshit. I've had enough of the bullshit. I would much like to have a normal life now and not have to chase down this guy who's a grown child in DMs to try to wrangle him. I gotta get a lasso and fucking tie the guy like he's a fucking wild bucking bronco or something. I'm playing Red Dead Redemption or something. I'm trying to tame a horse. No, I'm not. This is a horse that's not worth taming. There's no big pot of gold at the end of this rainbow. If I happen to get Boogie on the show, it's just not worth the hassle. In fact, I'll be honest with you. I actually think this segment right now is the most I'm going to get out of it, or would have gotten out of it anyway. I don't think that this is any more or less. Like, look, I got one $20 super chat over there from this Momo Cabello guy. And I think there was like perhaps one person gifted a sub during this segment. That's probably the most I would even benefit from having Boogie on my show. So there you go. All right. Done with that. Moving on. Looking forward to having Wings when he's ready. That's that. And Keem, I appreciate you trying to interject. I understand what you're trying to do. You're trying to help. I don't think there's any helping in this situation. Quite frankly, I don't think there's a point. So there you go. Okay, cool.
And there you have it. Unless it's Wings or Arturo, DSP isn't interested anymore in interviews. In the end, I guess that the only thing that really matters is that DSP got everything that he could out of Boogie without ever having to actually bring him on. I mean, DSP said it himself, guys, I'm just the messenger. That's the way that he was looking at it at the end of the day. That being said, shout out of course, I can't imagine DSP will be doing LOLcow Live anytime soon after this, but I've been wrong before, so I guess we'll see. Hopefully, I'll see all of you guys in the next one. Be safe. Goodbye.
Stop moving so we can talk.